Now, at this point, I want to stop and say you can read the Gospels, especially the synoptic Gospels, of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and recognize that the teachings of Jesus are almost paragraph by paragraph being given to those on the top of society and those on the bottom, usually in the same text. And to those on the top, he's always saying, come down. Come down. Give up your power. Give up your righteousness. Give up your explanations. Jump off the tower. All right? To those on the bottom, the little Syrophoenician woman, the little woman with the hemorrhage, the lepers, the people who are the nobodies and the nothings of this earth, he's always saying, come up. You've got faith. Go show yourself to the priest. You've got the power. So you've got to realize there's a gospel to the oppressors and there's a gospel to the oppressed. And you've got to see which one he's saying to which. But it's all, check it out yourself. The word is consistent. To the people on the bottom, outside the temple, the losers, those who are told that they're no good, he tells them they've got the power. Those who are convinced they're good, he says, you don't have any power at all. All right? I don't trust you. I don't trust you. You've lost the real. Now, the reaction, as you'd expect, of good, proper, church-going people to this Jesus is outrage and scandal. And at the end of some passages, of course, they plot to kill him. Now with that, let's move into the Sermon on the Mount. Really, it should all self-explain now, I think. I don't even need to waste any time on the text. Seeing the crowds, he went up the mount. He went up the hill. Now what do we have there? Of course, Moses going back to the mountaintop, proclaiming the truth, bringing down the new law. Remember, Moses came down to the mountaintop. Jesus goes up the mountaintop to find the new law, to replace the old Mosaic law. And so this is putting this in a very important context. This is, as it were, the replacement of the Ten Commandments. You got it? All right? It's the new Moses bringing down the law. The happy attitudes, we call them, or the Beatitudes. He sat down. He was joined by his disciples. At this point, it's only the smaller group of disciples who are prepared. This is the heavy stuff, okay? You notice it's not the crowds. You've always got to notice who he's addressing, right? Who he's addressing. When it's the disciples, it's the heavier stuff, or the apostles, heavier yet, right? There is a very real plan in Jesus' evangelism, it seems. And he knows there are stages to when you're ready to hear what. And at the early stages, you can't hear the hard gospel yet, all right? You can't hear the cross. I always say people under 30 even have a hard time hearing the cross because the ego is saying, grow, 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 become, become, become. And you can't walk into a 21-year-old's life and say, die. No. It doesn't make sense, die. But something happens to us, you all know, those of us who are older, somewhere in the 30s or 40s, where the word starts sinking in and you say, you know, it's the truth. That dying is a part of life. It's not opposed to life, it's a part of life. And I must hear it. And the psyche is ready to hear it. But anyway, he sat down, he was joined by his disciples, and then he began to speak. Or sometimes translated, he opened his mouth. So the word of God is to come out of his mouth. And this is what he said. Now this you're all familiar with. It's one of the most beloved, probably, of Jesus' teachings. And begins with that wonderful line. You don't miss your opening line. I always say it's the opener of the inaugural address. How happy are the poor in spirit. Now, you've got to know that's crucial to everything he's teaching, or it wouldn't be the opener, right? It wouldn't be the opening line. It does appear that Matthew has chosen to soften it from the more original context that we see in Luke. If you want to read the probably more primitive Beatitudes, you will find that in the 6th chapter of Luke. And as I said, Luke was preaching to the poor. His gospel is for the poor, so he leaves, more likely, the scholar says, the hard words of Jesus as they were originally spoken. And in Luke, as you'll read it, Luke 6 is just, happy are you poor, and woe to you rich. No softening of it whatsoever, right? Matthew, smart man. I mean, I'm not faulting him for it. He's got a nice middle-class community who have jobs at Kirtland Air Force Base and Sandia Labs, you know. And he better not say that or they'll walk out on the talk. So he says, happy are the poor in spirit. All right? And I mean, the truth is still there. Poor in spirit means to live without a need for your own righteousness. Inner emptiness, out a need for your own reputation. If you're poor in spirit, it won't be long before you're poor. In other words, you won't waste the rest of your life trying to get rich because you'll know better. You see?